Hello,
I'm Pooja,
and I'm Kritika.
and welcome to the
Best Friend Podcast.
In this episode, we've got some really fun stories
Yeah.
about how we met our husbands and the awkward conversations
Yeah.
with our parents.
How
and
did
our-
we break the news to them?
Yes.
And since it's a sequel to the previous episode that we spoke about,
If marriage was really worth it, and like an intro to the marriage
Yeah.
episode. So this is like part one, or like a prequel sort of thing into the
Yeah.
whole marriage and relationships episode that will follow.
Yeah.
And you want to start? You want to tell about how you met Varun?
Yeah, I can start. My husband's name is Varun. It feels like I'm giving an interview.
Yeah.
Tell me about yourself. I met him. So he's a musician. He's a live singer, and he plays the guitar. So there's this one place that me and Pooja used to go every Sunday, and I had no idea that that place had a floor above as well.
Where they played live music,
Live
because we
music.
would always listen to the DJ and dance.
Yeah, we would always be in the
lower
floor and just dance and make it a night out of it. But I remember this one Sunday she said it was the DJ was too crowded, the area was too crowded. So she said, you know what, let's go sit on the floor above. And I'm like, there's a floor above? What are you talking about? And we went, and that's where I saw him, and he was playing the guitar and singing and all of that. And I was just awestruck looking at him. I was like, okay. And obviously I didn't talk to him because he's on the stage, and I didn't want to be one of those girls who just walks up and be like,
fangirling. And
correct. And we were also like a couple of years down, so I didn't want to leave a bad or a groupie impression on him. So I went on Instagram later that night, because he has this habit where he tells his Instagram handle, because he posts a lot of when is his next show, where is he playing, and all of that. So he announced his Instagram handle. So I went home the next day, and I sort of
Searched for
stalked
him.
him on Instagram, and I found him, and I just messaged him saying that, hey, it was really nice listening to you last night. And he replied saying, thank you. And at that when I did get a reply, I wanted to keep the conversation going, and I also wanted to find out if he was single, or if he had a girlfriend, or if he was married. So I can't just randomly pop the question. So I said that you sing so beautifully. I'm sure you're
you must have a lot of fans.
no, I said your girlfriend or your wife must be
Oh,
really
yeah,
lucky,
yeah.
really lucky to have you. And he said, I don't have any. And I was like, yes, that's my chance. And that's when we started talking, and then we asked each other out for coffee, and that's how it started. It was very old school, because my husband is very old school. He likes to do things of that era, like write letters, or like give a flower, or ask a girl out for coffee, or get to know the person, actually get to know the person, and all of that. And it was very sweet. We clicked like that. I remember coming back home and texting Pooja from the coffee date saying, I want to marry this guy, like because for me, I was head over heels after the first date. And it just, we met around like 6 o'clock in the evening, and we spoke till like 10 in the night, and we didn't even realize where the time went until my mom called asking, I want to come back home.
Yeah, and she thought you were with me.
Yeah, because I don't have any other friends. And she was the only reason my mom would not
Call her,
or
asking, "Where
ask
are you
twice.
guys?"
Yeah. So I told her I'm with her. So that's how I met him, and it's going to be almost a year now that
Since you got married.
Yeah.
I remember after you guys like started dating, like for a bit,
Yeah.
after like a week or something, you're like, okay, fine, I'll make you meet Pooja.
Yeah.
And then Kitta, Varun, and me, we met at this one coffee place.
Yeah.
And over there, and since Varun and me were very alike, like if you see us, you could be like, yeah, they're brother sister, because
Yeah.
our personalities are very similar.
Correct.
Like we're very outgoing and
Yeah.
crack witty jokes and all of that.
Yeah.
So towards the end, I'm like, chalo bill ka scene hai, kya hai karke. So me and Varun started fighting about the bill.
Like,
I
who'll
will pay karke.
Yeah.
Kitta is just chilling there, let them pay.
Whoever, you pay, she pays.
Who
I don't
cares
care.
karke.
Yeah.
And then Varun's like, okay, fine, let's do rock, paper, scissors, and
Yeah.
we'll see whoever wins, they can pay the bill.
Yeah.
So we're doing rock, paper, scissors, and
Yeah.
then imagine this is my hand and this is Varun's hand.
Yeah.
I'm like, rock, paper, scissors, I did this,
Yeah.
and he's like, you did that? And I'm like, bro,
Oh,
okay,
shit.
fine, fuck it, you win, you pay. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this guy is the one for Kitta. And I just like knew at that point
Correct.
that
And
Kitta has
that
found.
is the ultimate best friend test. Like, if the best friend doesn't approve, then don't go for the guy, because the best friend knows it better than you do, because at that time you're just all in the feelings, and
all butterflies and all.
Yeah. What about you? You want to tell your story? How you met?
Where do you think me and my husband would have met? Like, you can leave guesses,
In the
down
comments.
below,
Yeah.
and then we'll see who gets it right. You know,
Mm.
like me and Umang, we met in the most like
Unromantic place you can think
not,
of.
not even unromantic. It's like
Least
least predictable
Yeah.
place. Okay, I met Umang at the gym. we go to we still go to the same gym.
Yeah.
Okay,
But as husband and wife
but
now.
as husband and wife now. So I was like full in like my gym mode, like self healing and full gym and all of that.
Yeah.
Like too much extra.
Yeah,
I was
she
in the
had
gym
her
mode.
phase.
Yeah, and I would not even like care about who's doing what in the gym. I would do my own thing. And I saw Umang like a couple of times, and his face, I don't know why, it felt very familiar to me. Even today, he was lying on the bed next to me, and he's like, you when for the first time like we spoke to each other, you said, "I've seen you somewhere." And he's like, "Do you remember where you saw? Like, yaad aaya kya? Kab kahan dekha karke?" I'm like, "No, I just felt like I'd seen your face somewhere, and then I knew you or I had met you before."
Yeah, it's like soulmate because you have that feeling.
Yeah, like you've seen somebody
Same,
before,
yeah.
and that face is just familiar.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Have I seen you before?" And he's like, "No, I don't think so." And then we left it at that, and we went back to our own workouts, doing all of that.
Yeah.
And before I spoke to him, so this is what he remembers. I was at the bench press machine because the bench press machine was not machine, it was the bench press station, and it was empty. Okay, and they have that incline chair.
What is a bench press?
So it's like when you lay down on your back, and then there's a
So you
the
pull that
bar.
thing.
No, you don't pull it. There are weights on either side, and you push it up, and then bring it back to your chest. That's called a bench press.
Okay.
Or a chest press. Okay. So the bench, I was at the
Bench
station,
press, yeah.
and because the chair was there, it was an incline chair, and the actual incline chair, it was being used by somebody else. I was using this, and I was hitting abs with a weight plate. Okay, so he comes up to the bench press machine, and he stands over there, and I'm like, "Oh, do you need to use the bench press station?" He's like, "Yeah, I need to." And I'm like, "Okay, just give me like 5 minutes. I'll just finish my set." And then I finished my set of abs, and then I got up, and I helped him load the plates because I was using that station, and it just felt like the right thing to do. So I helped him load the plates, and for him apparently that was like the first time a girl helped a boy out, and he's like, "Oh, nice." Karke. And anyways, he would do that aankh micholi stuff in the gym and like try to get glances at me and all. That's because I also used to do that. That's how I know.
That's how you know, yeah.
But that was when we spoke for the first time, and then I was like, "Have we met?" And then later, there was this one like stool kind of thing where everybody would keep their phones and water bottles and all, and I would go and check my phone in between or like take a sip of water, and he would come there purposely because I would come there. And then one day he asked what my name was, and I asked him what his name was, and then he's like, "My name is Umangja," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're a Bihari." He's like, "No, I'm not a Bihari." And I'm like, "Okay, it's not wrong to be one.
I'm just asking.
And then that was it. That was the end of the conversation. And then he would come to the gym, I would come to the gym, we'd be like, "Hi, okay, bye." And he would never speak.
Yeah.
And then one day I was like, you know what, screw it. Let me just ask this guy out. I mean, what can go wrong? Let's just go for coffee and see if we click or something.
Yeah.
And then he was at one random station doing some random exercise. And I go up to him. I'm like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" He's like, "Nothing, work." I'm like, "Are you free in the evening, like after 6, 7? He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Do you want to go for a coffee?" He's like, "Okay."
That's it.
And then I just turned and I left. And we didn't even exchange numbers, nothing. Okay. And the next day I come to the gym. He also comes, and then working out. And then towards the end, he's like, "So are we going out for that coffee?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're going out." He's like, "Okay." And then I'm like, "I'll just finish my workout. You wait. And then once I'm done, we'll go." And then we finished the workout. And then we went to the same cafe where, all of us went. And then over there, we sat, we spoke for a bit and all of that. And then, so the place where he was staying, it was nearby to where I lived. So I was like, "You know what, I'll drop you." And he didn't have a mode of transportation. So I said, "It's just 2 minutes away, I'll drop you." So I dropped him off at his accommodation, and then I left. No, when I dropped him, there was some random person that said, "Oh, hello, Umang, bye." And then I was like, "Okay, fine, bye." And then I left. And then I realized, shit,
We didn't exchange
I
numbers.
don't even have his number. I don't have his Instagram handle. I don't have any means to contact him. And the very next day, I was flying out to Mangalore with my father. Okay, I turned the scooty around, and I'm like, "Is he there?" I tried to search for him, but he had gone up by then, and I could not enter because it was a boys' accommodation. And that same person who said Umang bhai hello, he was standing there. So I was like, "Listen, bro, can you call that guy back once again? I don't have his number." He's like, "Huh? Okay, fine, I'll call." And then he's like, "I also don't have his number. Let me call him on Instagram."
Oh my God.
So that guy, I don't know who he is. I don't even remember his face. He called Umang on Instagram, and then he came down. I'm like, "Dude, give me your number or Instagram or something." And then he gave me his Instagram. And then I went home, and then like a message popped. And the first message was his phone number.
Aww.
He sent his phone number to me on Instagram.
So
and then
sweet.
we started we started talking and all. And while we were talking on Insta and everything, 3 days later I came back to Hyderabad, and he fell sick, and he didn't come to the gym for 1 week. So imagine if I didn't go back and ask for his number,
You would just not talk.
I would just never see him again probably.
Correct.
Because that 1 week, 2 weeks we didn't see each other
You
only.
went 1 week, then he didn't come.
He didn't come 1 week. He fell sick and all. And then later, finally, we were like, "Okay, let's go on a date." And then we went, and then we had like a heart to heart and all of that, and we clicked. And then that night only, I think
we met
again. You, Varun, me, Umang, and few of the
Varun's
friends and all.
yeah.
And then that night we're like, okay,
Yeah,
yes.
I remember that night. By that time, me and Varun had already dated each other for 2 3 months
Yeah.
then, and I told. And at this point, both of our husbands now they know that we are very important to each other. But at that time, Varun knew by that time that Pooja is very important to Kita. So everything that's important to me is automatically important to him. So I told him, I'm like, she's getting this guy that she kind of likes. That whatever was important to me, it was automatically important to Varun. So I told that I'm like, see, she is kind of seeing this guy, and it looks like it's she really likes him, and she's getting him to date so that we can meet him. So he's like, okay, I'm fine. And then we were already there, and we were already a couple of drinks down. Then these two came, and these two were already drunk from the afternoon or something. They they had gone out for lunch or something, and they had a couple of drinks, and they were already drunk. And it was just a very nice vibe. Like we
Yeah.
were all just having fun. And I remember this one time where. We were just sitting. It was like a bench here, and then table, and then the other bench. So Varun, me, Pooja, and Umang, four of us are sitting on one bench, and on the other bench, two of Varun's friends are sitting. Like one of us could get up and go there, but we all wanted to sit. And Varun got very drunk that night, and he just like did this to my head because he wanted to talk to Umang on that side.
Yeah.
And he said something very sweet, like she has he was telling Umang that she has a very strong like a high wall around her, and I've never seen her melt like this in front of any man, at least in the 2 months that I've known her. So you probably must mean something a lot more to her than you think or than she conveys. And it's because Varun and Pooja's personalities are very similar, so it was easier for him to understand that she might struggle in expressing what she actually feels. And it's the same problem with Varun. He does not express as much, but when you're drunk, you don't have control over your emotions. So he said it for her, and I found that very sweet because I'm just like, it's just very cute moment. And I think it just escalated from there. Not everything just
moved very smoothly after that.
Yeah.
And then soon after, I had posted a picture of me and Umang on Insta of us hanging out. And I think my mom saw that picture on Insta.
Yeah.
And the next day, she calls me into her room and she's like, "Come, beta, I want to have a talk with you." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, shit.
What did I do?
What have I done in the past 1 year?" And I have done a lot of random shit. Okay,
Yeah.
and everything. It's like a flashback in
Yeah.
my mind. Like, shit, what is Mama gonna ask me? Karke?
Yeah.
And then finally, she's like, you're an adult. I mean, you're like 23 years old now, and if you have like a special friend, you can introduce him to us. I'm like, okay. And then she's like, I'm your friend, and I know I'm your mother, but I'm also your friend at this point. So you can tell me stuff. I'm like, okay, if I have something to tell, I will tell you. And then I went away. And then I told Kita, like, bro, this is the scene.
Yeah.
Then she's like, yeah, fuck it, just tell your mom. And then I sat my mom down and I'm like, you know what, let's go for lunch on Saturday. You, me, Kitta, Varun. Because, Kitta, Varun want to tell their parents, but they don't know how to tell. And, along
She
with...
just threw us under the bus
Yeah.
for no reason.
Yeah.
We didn't even want to tell our parents.
I had to make a story up, okay? And then I said, along with these people,
One more
somebody
person.
else will also come. My special friend.
Oh my god.
And my mom's like, okay.
It is hilarious. She calls me and she says, we're going out for lunch tomorrow. You, Varun, me, my mom, dad, and Pia, and Umang. I'm like, what? Why? And more importantly, I'm like, why Varun? Why are you putting me under the bus?
Because I'm like,
She's like, I'm not doing this alone. If I'm going down, you're going down with me. And for me, I was like, cool, you know what? Because at that point, Jaya auntie knew about Varun because I told her, and it was a thing that my mom had already started looking for matches for me and all of that.
Her mom knew about Umang
before. Her mom knew about my mom knew about Umang before her mom knew, and Jaya auntie knew about Varun before my mom knew. So she tells, and hear this out. Now I have to tell my mom that we're going out for lunch, right? And I can't tell Varun is coming along. So I had office that day. So I used to work the night. So I came back in the morning and I slept for like a couple of hours and I wake up and I'm just randomly trying to talk to my mom. And I said, so, Umang, you remember that guy I told you about? So Pooja is trying to introduce that guy to Jaya auntie. So we're all going out for lunch. And then my mom says, oh, I also want to meet that guy. I'm like, no, mama, no, wait for it. Let auntie get to know. Because Varun is also coming. I'm like, no, you wait. And then we went out for that lunch. But more than her, I was panicking for her.
Yeah.
Because I think that moment where, you just want everything to go right. You cannot, you cannot afford your parents not liking
that other person.
other person.
True. And fortunately, that meeting went very nice.
Yeah.
And because my father is like a huge music aficionado, and Varun is an artist,
Mm.
they hit it off really well, and they kept
Yeah.
talking about music. And
Yeah.
then they didn't badger Umang a lot with questions.
Yeah, they didn't grill him.
Yeah,
much.
they didn't grill any. In fact, they were making fun of me.
Yeah.
Okay, and for some reason, they had everybody on the table was making fun of me. Okay, I'm just like, bro, what is this? Like a roast
Session.
YouTube video or something or what? And then
Yeah.
it was nice. My parents were all happy and everything,
Yeah.
and they're like, okay, nice. And my father had already pledged his business to his future son-in-law,
Yeah.
saying, you only have to take it. I'm like, hello, wait, this
What
is the
about-
first meet. Calm down. You didn't even let me get into the business that easily. You're giving him off the whole thing.
Yeah, it was very cute of uncle. He just said, "यही सब तो हमने किया है, but अभी तुमको ही संभालना है." And we're just sitting there like, what is
Calm down,
happening?
calm down.
Let's just eat our food. I
Yeah.
was focusing on the food because after entering 10 minutes later, I was just like
Hungry.
I'm like, okay, now it looks like everything is going smooth. I don't have to worry about it. And when you went to get more food on your plate, there was a moment when me and Jayanti were alone at the table, and she takes advantage of that and she says, "तुमको बताया उसने?" And then before I could answer anything, she only said, "हाँ, तुमको तो बताएगी ना." I was just like,
yeah, of course. That,
Yeah.
But yes, and then later it was all nice. And then after that, after my parents met Umang, now Umang's parents were also searching for matches for Umang. And Umang kept delaying the whole thing, saying, "Nahi, मेरे को नहीं देखना लड़की अभी ये वो फलाना ढिमकाना." And he had already booked his tickets to go home somewhere around my birthday. And then he thought, "Chalo, I'll go home, meet them physically, and then tell my parents then." But then his parents kept sending proposals to him, so he's like, "Fuck it, I'll just tell my parents." And then one fine day, out of nowhere, he calls his mom and he's like, "Mummy, वो रिश्ते भेजना बंद करो." And his mom's like, "What? Why?" He's like, मेरे पसंद कर लिया है करके. And then later I spoke to his parents over video call, and it was very nice. And that happened, and it was all like, yeah, okay, nice. Marriage, okay.
Let's get you married.
Like that.
Yeah.
And then later, was Umang also there when we came to your house?
That's how it came out.
So one fine day, randomly.
It was on the same day.
No, it was not on the same day.
I because I was carrying a purse, you gave me your wallet.
Oh yeah,
to put in my bag.
And then I left my wallet with you, and then I had to come and pick it up because my ass stays in the wallet.
Correct.
So I came to pick up that wallet, and Umang also came along with me because Ekta auntie wanted to meet him anyways. And so that happened, and then we were just talking about everything, and then auntie's like, "मैं इसको भी ढूंढ रही और मैं बोल रही इसको भी कोई है तो बताओ." And then I was like, "Auntie, tension मत लो आप क्यों tension ले रहे?"
No, she was so dumb. I mean, she was very excited for me, and the fact that my mom was looking for matches, she just went. She said, "Okay, auntie, आप ढूंढना बंद करो. Whoever is it, when the time is right, he'll only show himself." I mean, just नाम ही ले लेती और that's what was left.
Yeah. My sole purpose in life is just to keep outing Kitta to her mom every time.
From school to marriage, I'm just like, dude, and
I feel like even if you someday get pregnant, I will only out it to your mom.
Yeah, before I tell, like, auntie, something is there in us.
आप नानी बनने वाले हो करके. Very funny.
God. Yeah. But yeah, she happened to tell my mom, and obviously after listening to that, my mom's not gonna keep quiet. No, she kept asking like 1,000 questions.
Who, where, what, when, how, why, everything.
And ये तो बोल के चली गई. I had to deal with it. And on the other hand, my husband is playing somewhere. He's on the stage, so I can't even call him to tell him that this is what happened. My mom knows about it. She's just there. He's just there on the stage. But one good thing about both of our husbands is that when we told our parents, they didn't react in a very "Arey, we didn't discuss this only. Why did you go and tell it? Or it's too early." None of that. Both of them were very calm about it, and very quickly they told their parents also. I think that is one of the many things that we thought it's okay to get married to somebody that you haven't known for so long because of the reaction.
One thing that was common in both our husbands is they were supportive of our decision. Like, okay, you messed up, fine, we'll deal with it now. Okay. And that was something that we'd appreciated, and that went well. And then after that, auntie met Varun, and then I also came to your house because like तुम मेरे को डूब के लेके गई, मैं भी तुमको मेरे को डुबाने से बचाओ करके.
Exactly. I was like, I'm not doing this alone.
Yeah. And auntie, she took like full interview session, no?
Yeah, she sent us all inside.
She's like, both of you go inside. I want to have a talk. And we're just like, Papa, God save Varun.
But he handled it pretty well because when we came out, my mom was all teary and
she was like, we knew that, acha gaya. So the tears of happiness and all. She's like, yes, I'm happy.
Happy with it.
Karke. And that was there. And then later, your family, that was that, I think that Peli Chuklu sort of thing was there, no? When you met families and all. That happened. And then you guys had an engagement.
Yeah.
Engagement was fun.
Yeah.
So much fun it was.
Engagement was fun because it was like a party.
Yeah.
It wasn't much of tam jam and all. And the engagement was like a North Indian style, because if we were to do it their style, it would be in the morning.
Yeah.
And but my mom said that she wanted it in the North Indian style. So the engagement happened, and I think everything just escalated so quickly. We didn't realize, but
How time flew.
yeah, but we told it in May, and we got engaged in June, and we got married in November. So we had like good 9 months from us telling at home till we got married. We had like a good 9 months to still keep getting to
Know
know
each
each
other.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a good courtship period
Yeah.
during that time. And उसके बाद तो ऐसे कैसे time निकला पता ही नहीं चला. After the engagement तो it just flew, and then one day, one fine morning at 4 a.m. we are waking up and I'm looking at her saying, "You're gonna get married today."
Yeah. Shit. It was so unreal. And we were sleeping in the same room, me, her, and one of my cousins, three of us, and both of us didn't sleep at all. We were awake the entire night because
Till like 2 a.m. We slept from 2 to 4,
2
I
to
think.
4, yeah. And then the photographer also was sending few unedited pics. So we were just seeing, I don't know, I don't think it's possible for you to have like a good night's sleep one day before the wedding. But it was just, it was like, what? I'm getting married? And we had to all over again for her marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That night also even I didn't sleep because I had to wake up early in the morning for that shoot.
Yeah.
Where later you guys blow dried my feet
Yeah.
because of that thing. But yeah, and I feel, when we got to know our in-laws,
Yeah.
I feel like there was a huge pressure
Hmm.
on us
Hmm.
from ourselves,
Hmm.
that we want to be accepted
Hmm.
and we want to impress these people,
Hmm.
and we don't want anything to go wrong or anywhere where they're like doubting this
Yeah.
decision of their son getting married to us.
Hmm.
And I feel like we did everything possible to woo them.
Correct.
है ना?
Yeah.
And that was there. Like, I put a lot of pressure on myself, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That, okay, I need to act in a certain way and be in a certain way. Because again, completely different cultures, completely different traditions and expectations and all of that. And that was like, it was like looming over our heads the
It
entire
was.
time.
It definitely was. For me, it was more like I like you said, I wanted to do everything to impress, but at the same time, I wanted to maintain that balance so that my mom doesn't feel like I am neglecting what she wants, or I'm putting her down and putting his mom on a pedestal. Because both me and Varun, both of our mothers are single parents, so I didn't want either of them to feel like they're not getting the importance, right? And it was so, and for me to accept Varun's traditions was a game changer. Like, for me, there was no fun in it, and the whole idea of for me to get married was for me to have fun at my own
Yeah,
wedding.
like the lehenga,
Yeah.
the tamjham and all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, auntie still makes fun about you till this day. Ki,
Meenamma.
kitta to meenamma ban gayi karke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like that polar opposite thing.
Yeah.
And so, when our wedding and all was fixed, and we had gotten introduced to our in-laws and all, I feel like both of us consciously put in efforts to build a relationship and a rapport with our in-laws.
Yeah.
We started off on a great note.
Yeah, definitely.
And for me, how it was, Bolto, I would, call them. And my in-laws, though, starting mein first only when I started talking to them, they said, "Ye auntie uncle kya beta, mummy papa bulao," karke they said. So I didn't have that awkwardness of call or pressure of calling them a certain thing. They said, they were very open ki mummy papa bulao, like how auntie is with you.
Yeah.
Like, auntie hi bulao, no problem. Like, it was
She didn't force me to call her like mom, because she like, until you feel like it. And I just didn't feel like it, so I call her auntie only, and she's okay with that.
Yeah, and for me, my in-laws, they're like, "Mummy, Papa, bulao," and it's not even like I call them Mummy ji or
Just
Papa
mummy,
ji.
papa,
I call them Mummy, Papa, like how I call my Mummy, Papa. And I made it very clear in the beginning that, my parents are important for me, and, this is how I treat them. And because you are so important to my husband and my husband is important to me, you are also very important for me.
Correct.
And neither are my parents less, nor you are less. Both of you are
Equal.
Both set of parents are very important and equal to me.
Correct.
And I treated them like how they would want their own daughter to treat them. So you know how a lot of families or mother-in-laws, they say, "Oh, tum to meri bahu nahi, beti ho," and then they fake it later. That was never the case for me. Like, my mother-in-law, she also took a lot of efforts to make me feel like, I'm her daughter and not a bahu.
Correct.
And she would, we joke and we, talk, we have arguments or disagreements and all of that. And she treats me like a daughter only. Never has she made me feel like, "Oh, tum to bahu ho, bahu nahi karte aise baat." And always like a daughter only. But I feel that comes when the foundation is set right.
Yeah.
And both of us, we had put in those efforts starting me. Like, one thing was I would call them regularly, or she would call me up, and it would never be like she would call Umang and then tell Umang to call me.
She would directly call
She would
you.
directly call me and she'd like, beta, ye, wo, sometimes to talk about the wedding, or she would just call randomly, and she would call my mom, or my mom would call her. It was never that in-law wala thing.
Yeah.
And one thing
It was never a formality with you.
yes,
Yeah.
and one thing I feel like that came because my mom's mother and my mom's mother-in-law,
They're like best friends.
they're like best friends. They're like very chill, and they don't treat each other like in-laws. They're like, chill. They come. My nani comes whenever she wants to my dadi's house. My dadi also goes whenever. There's no like formality between them. And my mother-in-law saw that, and she told my mom that, you know, I don't want to be like in-law with you. I want to be
like that,
like friends, where we can call each other up and trust each other and like talk like friends and all. And honestly, it's my greatness of my mother-in-law, I should say, that she put in that effort, because a lot of mother-in-laws don't do that. I feel they're like, oh, you're my bahu, you will do this, you will do that. I am the son, I am the, you know, the boy's mom, so I will, you know, act like holier than thou and all of that.
But yeah, well, my mother-in-law, she your mother-in-law had, like, Umang has a sister, so she knows she knows what it is to be a mother of a daughter along with a mother of a son. Whereas my mother-in-law, Varun, is the only child. So I don't want to blame anybody. It's just that she does not know what it feels like to
have a
girl child. So that emotional bonding has never been there, because Varun is a man. So men don't do that. Men don't have an emotional bonding with their mother or, you know, their father. The thing where you hear, no, they father and son don't say I love you to each other and all of that. So that she never had that relationship for her to accept me as a child of her own. And from the very beginning, I did not want her to accept me like that. I just wanted her to accept me as a, you know, as a part, as a part of family, which she did. And we did have a lot of conversations where, you know, there were couple of misunderstandings, and then both of me and my mother-in-law, we sat down and I put my point forward and she put her point forward. So it was a very healthy conversation. It's not like, you know, because something that I did upset her and then she put that in her heart and, you know, treated me badly, or none of that drama happened. But it's always like, you know, it takes time for us to get to the point where you can, you know, be bold enough to be like, you know what, sit down, I want to have a conversation with you, because not everybody will be willing to have that conversation. But I didn't want my husband to go through that sandwich situation where one side it's his wife and it's his mom, and I didn't want him to choose, because I know that he will not be able to make that choice and it'll stress him out. So I'm like, let me try and resolve it, because it's an issue with me, it's not an issue with him. So why do the whole triangle nonsense? It took time. It was not a merry-go-round, of course, to begin with. But now we talk about anything and everything. Like, if she tells me something that this is what we do it, I tell her that I'm not used to doing it, but you tell me what to do and I'll do it. Like, my personality is, if you force me to do something, no, I will not do it. Yeah, I will.
Both of us are like that. And one thing, like, I think both of us do is, there are a lot of traditions that you know, the family that we come from, they don't follow, and the family that we've entered into, they've been doing it since years. So, like, for certain traditions, my advice for, you know, brides would be, you know, you don't have to believe in what they do. Like, for example, take the most recent festival that has happened, Karwa Chauth. Now, I am a very logical person, from in my South family, there's no Karwa Chauth only. Whereas for Kitta, in the family that she has entered into, which is a South family, they don't have Karwa Chauth. But Kitta has seen her mom doing it, you know, for a really long time, and it's a huge part of her culture. So what I did was, now I don't have any belief in it, but because it would make my husband and my mother-in-law happy that I followed that tradition, I did it for their happiness. And she found a lot of joy in it. She's like, oh, my daughter-in-law did it because you know, she loves me and she wanted to do it for me, and she was happy in that. Whereas for you, your mother-in-law was like, because you want to do it, she's like, हाँ, let her do it. She didn't say no in हमारे में नहीं होता तो तुम मत करो.
Yeah, she didn't do that. She said, it's your tradition, you follow it.
Yeah, like, don't lose your traditions too. And if you're getting happiness in it, you do it. Same for me. I did it because my mother-in-law would be happy if I do it. And you know, that thing where you don't have to believe, but if you do it and somebody is happy, that will enhance your relationship. Honestly. And I am a very logical person, okay? Like, even in the rituals and traditions that we follow,
it's either black or white for her.
Yeah, like, I try to find logic in a lot of things. Like, the whole Karwa Chauth, it didn't sit very well in my brain because even the katha and all that I read, it didn't make sense to me. I'm like, there's no health benefit to it and it doesn't make sense. There's no science behind this. And
Why am I doing
why am I
it?
doing it? But I'm like, okay, my husband's seen his mom doing it his whole life.
Mm.
He's gonna be happy. My husband also did it along with me, and I had no idea what to do. My mother-in-law instructed my husband ki aisa karwana hai, and she told us how to do it over video call, and we followed. And she was very happy. And then she's like, beta, send pictures of you and Umang of you doing it. And we sent a picture of me and Umang to her, and she was so happy. She sent it to my mom saying, oh look, they got dressed up and all.
Yeah.
And
It's just the little joys that make the marriage work. And I think that is exactly what marriage is. That at some point, you just do things for the other person's happiness. Then the other person will automatically do it for your happiness also.
because you're not losing out on anything when you're doing a certain
Exactly.
ritual or a
Yeah.
tradition, right? But if the other person is happy doing it, then
Why not?
why not? Like,
Yeah.
sometimes happiness is what do they say, like,
The key.
infectious, है ना?
Yeah.
Like, somebody smiles, you look at them, you
You
smile
smile.
back like a yawn,
Yeah.
है ना? So if you're making the other person happy,
Hmm.
the other person will feel happy, and they'll also do something
Correct.
to make you feel nice.
The entire environment is only happy, so you're automatically happy. Like किसी का mood खराब नहीं है.
Yeah.
Everybody is happy, and the fact that you did it for the person to be happy, and the person is happy, is when you're like, I'm good now. But sometimes when you do it for the other person's happiness, and the other person just doesn't care.
Yeah, true.
That's when it hurts. Like, I'm doing so much
For you,
and you're not even.
Sometimes what happens is, like, let's say, for example, cultural difference में north south में sarees में difference आता है.
Yeah.
So maybe one day you're sitting and thinking, oh, let me wear a sari. My mother-in-law will be happy if she sees me in a sari. And you wear a sari. But then she sees you and she's like, oh, that sari is not nice. Wear something more, like more silky or more chamak damak. And then you automatically feel bad, like, oh, I did so much for her, but even उसमें भी वो खुश नहीं है.
Correct.
Correct. You are bound to feel bad about that.
You're human.
But take it with a pinch of salt that,
Yeah.
okay, next time if I want to make her happier, then maybe if I wear this sari, she'll be happy. Like, you at least know what her standard of that
Correct.
certain happiness is.
Correct.
And sometimes it's not always about happiness. Like, sometimes you should also learn how to say no, but in a nice way. Right? You need to draw boundaries.
Yeah.
Like
with me, because I grew up being a North Indian, I like the chamak dhamak sarees. And my mother-in-law is a proper South Indian. She likes the silk and she likes the pattu, and she wants to see me also in that. So I wear those sarees in like a if there's like a puja at home, or if it's like a South Indian festival like a Varalakshmi Vratham or something. So I'll wear like a silk or a pattu at that time. But the other times, if you're going for a function, or if if it's Diwali or something, I'll obviously wear like a designer saree, because that's what I like to see myself in. So I've learn to say no in such a way that it's nobody's loss. It's nobody's, nobody's losing anything. I tell her that, you know what, I'll wear pattu, but I'll wear it on this occasion. That way she's also happy that, she's wearing it. But I'm not putting myself down also, or I'm not killing my wishes just to make her happy, because that's not my job only.
Yeah. And I think one example I can give for myself is that I don't like it when certain clothes are itchy or have those chamak damak things which poke. And if you see me, I will always be wearing like cotton or something comfortable, soft, that does not irritate my skin. Because if I sit in something like that, I will just keep thinking about when I'm going to get out of that dress. And I made it very clear to my mother-in-law in the starting itself that I don't like aise chamak damak, aise pokey wala stuff, and I cannot bear it. And my mother-in-law understood, and her wish was, she wanted me to wear certain clothes, certain suits she wanted to buy for me, certain sarees she wanted to buy for me. And over the time, she only started selecting clothes for me that were soft and had no chamak damak and nothing. And we both compromised a little, and we found a common ground. And now it's so sweet of her. She calls me sometimes. She's like, "Beta, look, I found this sari, and देखो ना ये अच्छा है, तुम्हें पसंद आ रहा है क्या?" And I'll be like, "नहीं मम्मी, मेरे को ये अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, कुछ और दिखाओ." And she'll show something else, and she'll be like, "Okay, do you like this?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I like that," and then she'll buy that for me. And now that came because initially, when me and her were building a relationship, I realized that she had married off her daughter at a very early age, and she did not have that forever moment with her daughter. So I realized that she likes that Sola Shringar and all of that. Correct. And I made it a point saying, "Come, I'll put a little makeup for you," and because she never had that chance. Correct. So I stepped in, and she appreciated the fact that I was helping her in something that she likes doing, like getting ready, getting her hair done, like taking her out for a facial, and she really appreciated that. And because I put in an effort, she also put in an effort to understand me. Correct. So if you tell somebody about your boundaries in a very constructive and subtle way, they will understand. And the important point of the keyword is you have to tell. Yes. Because see, now I grew up a certain way, right? I
cannot expect the other person to understand. For example, me and her only. Forget about the culture difference. Just the choices that we make in life are so different. But I have to tell her that this is my choice. This is what I want. Otherwise, she'll keep doing what she's used to doing. How will you know that maybe I like to do something else? And unless you speak up, I don't think you get to blame the other person, saying this person is doing this to me. Like, what are you doing about it?
Yeah, like you're not stepping in and saying,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not comfortable with this or I don't like
Yeah.
this. Can we please do it in a different way?
Yeah.
And I feel like with any relationship, even with your own parents,
Yeah.
as you grow
Hmm.
from a teenager to an adult to like an older adult or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck it is called,
Older.
your preferences, your choices, your way of living, it changes. And sometimes you happen to have misunderstandings with your own parents.
Yeah.
And that is somebody who has, given birth to you and, they've seen you grow. And this is a new family. How can you expect them to just randomly understand?
Correct.
You got to, tell it.
Hmm.
But I think in another, perspective, there are a few people, be it the in-laws or
Parent.
the parent, the in-laws or the
Bride.
bahu or the damad or whatever,
Hmm.
they themselves, they're sometimes not very understanding people and they pass on generational trauma.
Those people we can't do anything about. But you can, you can always try, and if they still don't adjust to your terms, then I think you should just let them be. Just say okay, for their
Peace of mind
peace of
and your
mind.
peace of mind, and then just do whatever
What?
you
Yeah.
want. Like, there are, I see on Reddit and on
Mm.
Insta and all,
Mm.
there are, mother-in-laws, what
Mm.
they'll do is, just because I have gone through all of this,
Mm.
you will also go through all of that.
Correct. This is
And
the way of life.
this is the way of life. They'll
Yeah.
just like push it onto the next generation.
Yeah.
And you have not done anything to deserve that.
Correct.
They probably haven't dealt with their trauma. They
Mm.
haven't had a chance to deal with their
Heal
trauma,
from it.
heal from it. What you can do is you can choose to heal from that trauma, and the next generation you can choose to not pass it on to them.
Correct.
As simple as that. And you can draw boundaries with this one person.
Correct. Nobody is asking you to make a living out of it. If you as an individual think that I can't deal with this, provided that you have taken necessary steps to deal with it, like talk with them, make them understand, or ask them to level with you, or whatever it takes. Even if you've done anything and everything and you still think that you can't deal with this person in your life, it's ruining your mental peace, and you don't feel like staying there, you can always draw a boundary. But
that also comes when you have your spouse's support.
That's why I said as an individual, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, sometimes toxic parents or toxic in-laws, whoever they are,
Yeah.
they might do a lot of shit, and then you might want to take a stand, but your spouse, like in our case, our husband, your husband might not take a stand for you.
Correct.
And
that becomes a huge
that
problem.
becomes a huge problem. And I feel over there also, if you've built that sort of trust and relationship with your husband, it comes naturally. But to get there also is like a huge
Yeah.
huge
Like in
thing.
my case, my husband is blindly supportive of me. Like, I don't even have to tell him that go and do this. He will do it himself. And in the initial months of me and him being married, I had a lot of क्या कहते हैं, difficulties with adjusting to the lifestyle, right? And he always stood up for me. मतलब I used to sleep in the day, and and not being able to contribute in the household chores and all of that. And he always stood up for me, saying she can't do it. She just doesn't have the mental energy to wake up an hour before just because she's married now to do all of this. And that's the whole reason we hired the help to help us with it. So he just put a 500 extra, saying do this also, let's just not bother her, because if he wouldn't have said that, then I would have had to wake up early and do all of those things. And it's important that your partner, more than loving and respecting and all of that, I think it's important that your partner is understanding.
Yeah. And that is like one huge topic in itself. And I think that's what we can discuss in the next episode.
Absolutely.
Where communication with your partner and the expectations, how to set the tone between yourselves, how to figure out the misunderstandings and all of that. And that's like a huge part of married life or a relationship as well, right? And I think that's something that will have to have its own episode.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that next.
Yep.
And until then, stay tuned. And if you have any stories of your misunderstandings or boundaries or anything of that sort with your in-laws, or how your wedding or your story and all of that, then let us know.
Yeah.
And comment down below. And or what you can do is, we also have a page on Reddit, right? It's called the Best Friend Podcast. And if you want to be anonymous and you want to share your story with us, or you want our point of view on it, or either mine or Kita's or both of us, then just send us a message on Reddit, or you can post on our forum as well on Reddit, and you will stay absolutely anonymous. Right? We will put the link of our Reddit forum down below, or you could always text us on Instagram. Our handle is also attached. And yeah, you know what? Hit that bell icon, like, comment, share, and it will mean the world to us. And we recently hit 500 subscribers, so
love you guys.
Yes.
Keep subscribing,
and
keep
liking.
sharing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye. It's just talking, but it takes so much energy to.